Well, hey there team, welcome back to the channel and welcome to Kerbal Space Program or KSP. So we're going to revisit this going into 2021. We're actually going to start up a new playthrough. I'm pretty excited to get stuck into it. Now sadly, Kerbal 2 has been pushed to 2022, I believe, by last time I heard. But that gives us a lot of room to really get stuck into Kerbal because we barely scratched the surface. Now, if you're familiar with the channel, I looked at Kerbal. I did a bit of a playthrough earlier in the year, and I absolutely knew nothing. And I'm on the record of saying back in the day when Kerbal came out, I was of the no, I don't want to play that sort of game. But I've changed over the years, and now I actually love it. I really like Kerbal, and it's really pushed me to explore different parts of engineering comprehension for me personally, because I'm very much grounded in things like HVAC and that sort of stuff. But also I think I just did a couple of little episodes on the tail end of last year. But what we'll do is we're just gonna do a full, let's go 2021, let's reboot it, let's bloody go. This should be fairly well received, I would think. There's a lot of people that have been asking constantly for me to come back to Kerbal, so here we are, and fingers crossed it's well received. What was I going to say? Oh, apparently there was a fairly large update over the Christmas break to sort of EVA components of the game and like, what was it? Like storage capacity, luggage, that sort of thing. Like, so you can put parts inside ships to fly them around. Shit, that's a long way away for us. But hey, maybe you're curious. It seems like they're actually doing a lot of robust updating of the base original game as well. Makes you really wonder about the development of the next game. But look, I'll take it. I'll take it if they're going to keep updating it. So I guess we're just going to start from scratch. Start new. Save name. Squarehead. If I can spell it right. Flag. Oh, I can change my flag. Organizations. Oh, man. Jebs. No, we'll just be boring. Just Kerbans. Career. Science. In science mode, you have to gather scientific data, research new technology. Yeah, that's part of career as well. And we'll just go normal. Again, I'm no expert. Like I said, I basically batch recorded a whole bunch of episodes when we looked at it last year. But let's see. Let's get into it. So you might not know what Kerbal is. I can tell you a little bit about it. Again, I'm not an expert. I'm still in my infancy, but it's definitely within the realm of what we cover on this channel. But it is a space rocketry sort of game. You have these cute little minion adjacent dudes that you repeatedly blow up constantly, trying to leave orbit. If I press map, I believe. Can I not press M? Oh, maybe I can't do it between missions or I don't have that technology unlocked. Anyway, one of the really interesting core conceits of this is the research system. We've got 0 research. And if we go into R&D, we can't actually unlock any of these because we need research. They're only 5 apiece. Stepping up to here, it doesn't actually tell us. But that'll go to 15 or whatever. There's a lot of tech, and it is very much a ceiling as well. So you need the tech to progress further on. But it doesn't take long before it's hundreds and hundreds to sort of level up, which is awesome. So you have a big incentive to gather science. You also got to balance your books with money. What is that over there? And through that you have to take on contracts. Do we do that through admin? No, that's different again. Mission control. So we can have max 2 contracts at any time, and it gives you an idea of how difficult they kind of are at the moment, right? Orbit Kerbin. I still haven't managed to get to orbit. I've become dangerously close to orbiting. I'm going to take that mission straight off the bat as something to sort of high in the sky work toward. You got to come up with your own progression, right? But if you're not doing contracts for money to keep above a certain float, then you could get yourself in all sorts of trouble. So I feel like having like the big one on the list is a good idea. But then also having little baby ones down here is also quite helpful too. Gather scientific data from Kerbin. Recover or transmit any scientific stuff to achieve the goal. Okay, well, how much money do we have? Oh, 40,000. Is that all? $40,000. Oh, they gave me an advance at some point? Oh, okay. Well, you don't really start with very much at all, do you? Unless they've nerfed it or something. Anyway, we'll gather science from Kerbal. That sounds like a good idea. So you'll come up with your own idiosyncratic way to push through. So this is the VAB where we make vertical stuff, but you can also have like a horizontal sort of plane hanger as well. Okay, so what are we going to do? Well, let's have a look at our contracts. I can bring them up here, right? I like the idea of pushing for orbit, but I also want to come up with a float system, you know, like X dollars in the bank. 44,000 isn't very much, especially when to like upgrade some of these facilities, it's like $250,000. So I feel like maybe let's try and get it over 50 grand. Let's say that, right? Once we're over 50 grand, we can start playing on the big project, which is to achieve orbit, but until then we'll do sort of piddly contracts, right? So gather scientific data. Now this is pretty straightforward if you know what you're doing, and in this particular case, this one time I happen to know what I'm doing. So what we're actually gonna, oh look at this, what is this? EVA jetpack, personal parachute. Oh, cool. Okay, so they have added some interesting things. All right, we're gonna take the mystery goo. We'll just attach that to our little bloody pod. I mean, does it really matter? I mean, I kind of want it to look nice and aesthetic. We'll put snap. No, I only want one, but I'll put it on snap mode because I enjoy snap, as opposed to sort of just freeform radial. I think that'll sit fine on the launch pad. Yeah, that's fine. So we're actually gonna, I mean, what are we gonna call this? Because we're gonna have our sort of two series in a way. Our big pie in the sky project and our sort of little contract. So what if we call the we'll have Scarlet series as our contracts and the Seeker series as the, you know, let's seek bigger, explore, whatever, that sort of bullshit. All right, so we're gonna call this Scarlet 1, right? Yes. Save. And then launch. How are you gonna launch it, Scarlet? Well, we're not. Because we basically just want to take scientific readings on the launch pad. So what we can do is, I can I can just spin it. Oh, that's pretty funny. Is there a way to, right click, I can right click. Jeez, just do little donuts down here. Nice. Observe mystery goo, right? And what we're gonna do then is, we're going to keep the experiment, but you can potentially transmit the data and you lose it. So using like radio beacons or radio, what am I talking about? Antennas to send it over wire essentially is an option. But if we keep it, we have to physically recover the experiment, which we're about to do. Look at this inventory. Oh, wow. Okay. But we can also, we'll do a crew report while we're here as well. Same thing. All right. And, I guess we can just recover vessel. So the hope is that that will complete the mission, because I gathered scientific data. And see, there we go. We got a little bit of science, crew report from Launchpad, mystery goo from Launchpad, right? I wonder if there's like a checklist somewhere. Different biomes, different heights in the atmosphere over different parts of the planet and in outer space. They all count as technically different sort of areas, different biomes, and you can get science observations for all your different shit from all those places as well, right? And Jebediah, he had a great time and achieved absolutely nothing. All right. So, active contracts 1, archived, completed. There you go. Gather scientific data from Kerbal, and you can see we've pushed past our 50 grand bloody float. So that'll do as a float for the moment. Let's work towards orbit. All right. Can you zoom out, please? You're so close. It's killing me. Why can't I zoom out? Okay. Hold mouse. There we go. All right. So Scarlet 1. Well, we're actually gonna delete this, and we're gonna start making a bloody Seeker 1, right? Let's start working on that. All right, so we've got our little thing there. I'll put a bloody nose parachute on it as well, right? I think it's probably smart cookie to put a heat shield on it. Do we even have heat shields? Oh wow, we don't even have them unlocked yet. Okay. Seeker 1, we'll just save you as a work in progress there. And how much science did we get? 6.5, so let's go to the research R&D. Engineering, so we can have decouplers, which are kind of important. Liquid fuel, better booster. Definitely need a decoupler. Let's research that. Cool. One thing that's sort of making me nervous is, yeah, there's the heat shields. I kind of want the heat shields, to be perfectly honest. Okay, cool. Now, we don't actually get science from the contracts per se. We get science from understanding how science works. We got a lot of different scientific telemetry here as well. So what we'll do actually is go in Seeker 1. Oh my god. I can hold shift and wheel out? Okay, cool. The controls are slowly coming back to me. What we will actually do is put you on there. Is that all that we got in the end? Yeah, I think that is. Communitron, not so helpful. Right, so what we're going to actually do is just exactly what we did moments before, except we'll do it with the Seeker series. We're going to go launch, just to get that sort of thermo. It acts like mystery goo, basically. It's another data point for scientific research gathering. We're going to log the temperature, keep the experiment, and recover the vessel. Straightforward stuff. We should get a couple of science from that. So yeah, as much as I want to go to orbit, I actually kind of want to get science right now. That's my pursuit. So 3.9, that's fine. And now we're going to actually look at gathering science whilst underway. So let's do that. What have we got? Oh, we've literally only got one booster. That's fine. We don't have a decoupler though, do we? Coupling. Oh no, we do. Alright, good. Well, we're gonna need that. We're not planning on going very high, so I think we'll be fine without the heat shield. I mean, this will be a pretty good little first go. So let's maybe, I mean, they're not going to weigh exactly the same, but we'll try and even the weight out a little bit. You can actually turn on, where are they? Here we go, like center of mass, center of thrust, all that sort of stuff. It is all still pretty balanced. All right, so to give you an idea what's going to happen is you have to stage the rocket as well with spacebar. So the first stage, when we press spacebar 1, it's going to fire this bloody thing, which is just a solid fuel rocket. There's not a lot to, I mean, we can toggle the thrust and the fuel in it at the beginning, but once it's underway, no bingo, right? So we're going to fire that. On the second one, we're going to decouple, which will remove that from there. And then on the third one, we're going to fire the little nose parachute to sort of recover. So the whole idea is that we're going to up into the air. We're going to take some bloody reports, and probably on our descent, maybe when we pop the chute or something like that. And yeah, we got to get thermal or temperature, observe the goo, and we'll take a crew report as well. I guess we call this the Seeker 1A. Seeker 1A will be alright. Oh no, we could probably just call it Seeker 2. Seeker 2 works. Still sort of endeavoring to, you know, get scientific discoveries in the name of Kerbin. All right, well, an RCS, SAS. I mean, these are things. I think RCS is physical, and I think SAS is him, but he's pilot 0 level. Oh, there you go. He does still stability assist. So if you have SAS turned on, he should help right the ship. We don't have RCS, so he'll try and keep it straight, essentially. Though we're not really interested in really going in any particular vector. All right, here we go. How we going, Jeb? Keep it straight. See, we're burning through the fuel straight away. Bang, decouple. And at this point, I mean, I guess we can just start doing crew report. Keep experiment. Observe mystery goo. Keep experiment. Get a temperature reading. Temperature scan while flying over Kerbin's shores. Keep experiment. Huh? And does map get us? You can see there's your apoapsis. So we're not anywhere near getting to orbit at this point. And we're already on our descent. So I think if you turn SAS off, it will find its own aerodynamic trajectory on the way down. I think we could even pop the chute now because it wasn't redded out or anything like that. I don't think there's any real harm in doing that. So over Kerbin's shores is a thing, but also over the ocean, that's another thing as well. So we could potentially try and steer it, you know, try and have a bit of airborne sort of flight. Down we go. Safe as houses. And that should net us a big chunk of science, actually. Like the piddly... It's all sort of relatable, so I think if you get science from another planet, for example, it's probably going to be worth quite a bit. Okay. Recover vessel. Nice and easy. How good was that? No one died yet. It will happen. I think someone was asking how I got Jeb back at some point. The game, I think unless you go into the settings, the game will just refeed your dudes back in eventually. Like, they're not perma-dead. I don't know, if that's working as intended, so it goes. Look at that, 32 science from all of that. Nice, and he got some XP. 1 XP gained. I wonder if that gives him a star now. Not sure. Alright, cool. So let's research some basic rocketry, which will give us the liquid fuel engine. And this has a variable thrust while underway. Very important. If we want to make it to orbit, we're going to need that. Now, what else have we got here? Heat shields, probably pretty important. Some core drogue chutes and all that. I went nuts on the chutes back in the day. Didn't really need them, to be honest. We've got a barometer, so we can do like pressure readings. Radiator panel, landing strut. Look, I'm all about getting this so we can get some more readings. You can see already up here we're starting to 45 science. It's starting to get very expensive. All right, 20. Cool. So let's go back in. No, not into you. Oh, we've got $132,000. How'd that come to pass? They must be paying me for like certain achievements or something like that, or for my science. I'm not sure, but that works well for us because we said our float would be 50 grand. I mean, there's an opportunity to move our float to 100 there, and that's the proposed amount that this rocket will cost, I believe. What we're actually going to do is we'll load the Seeker 1. And we'll make this Seeker 1A, and we'll say launch pad observational craft. There we go. How cool is that? Look at me role playing. We'll even go uppercase. Right. because what we're going to do now is upgrade it science. All right, we'll put the goo on there. We might as well have a robust suite, even though we've already used the goo. But we're more interested in this to get the pressure reading. And I think that's all the science that we're going to need. Okay, cool. So save that. Now we're going to launch that. Let's get some more science. Being thorough. Apparently you can go to the different parts of the, like technically the different buildings that the Kerbal thing count as biomes. It almost feels like cheating, to be honest. But I mean, what we could hypothetically do is make a vehicle and drive around to make observations. I mean, the challenge of engineering it would be fun, but it seems like almost the programmers had to make them as biomes for some reason, more than an actual intended mechanic. That's how it feels. Keep experiment. And then, I mean, I think we have diminishing returns. Let's just log everything while we're here, because why wouldn't we? And we'll take a crew report. All right. Recover. I'm curious if we get any science from those. Oh, look, 0, 0, and a tiny bit of looking at the goo. Okay, it's still worth doing. Next. Done. 16 science. I think that's probably going to get us one of these. No, 18. 20. Okay, that's fine. Cool. Back to the VAB. So let's load up the Seeker. The Seeker 2. And what are we going to call this? Atmospheric Science Vehicle. I don't know. We can change that. But so the idea is we're suborbit. Well, not even suborbit, because is that technically a thing as well? Pressure barometer. We could probably actually just call it a rocket, to be honest. I don't know if that's the correct vernacular, but I don't intend on steering it or driving it anywhere, you know? So we'll call this the Seeker 2, Seeker 2A. Save that. So same thing, we're going to launch again, and we're just going to take some observations. Try and get a bit, might as well be thorough about it, you know? Now, we could be jetting off trying to do orbit immediately, but I kind of want to just be thorough, to be honest. So let's just go. I'm assuming it held all its staging. Yeah, it did, by the look of it. Alright, first things first. Well, flying at Kerbin. Flying at Kerbin. Oh, you know what? It's because we're in... Yeah, because we're in flight. Crew report. While flying over Kerbin's shores. See, I think we actually slipped biomes there. Flying over Kerbin its shores. So it seems to be two different things there. I think we slipped between the two. Yeah. Biomes. Anyway, interestingly. Give me the timer, please. Thank you. We'll have a squiz and see what it has to say in the report. We're going to land on uneven land. Oh no, watch it roll away and blow up. Oh no, we good. We good, a fam. Yeah, I'd be curious if there's a way to know what you have and haven't logged scientifically. So there's our pressure data. Flying over Kerbals shores. Yeah, see, recovery of vessel that survived a flight. That's cool. Flying at Kerbal, flying over Kerbals shores. So they are technically different things. So we could get a bit fiddly about that. All right, so we can get stability. Radial decoupler is handy. Slightly better fuel engine and the big thumper as well. Look, we can afford this, so we're going to get it. Yeah. 130 grand. No. We want to go to the VAB. And we're going to start working on the Seeker 3. And I guess orbital. I mean, vehicle. Whatever. I'm not sure what else to call it. But that'll do, because this is also for my own notes, right? So this is the orbital project, as it were. So I'm less interested in the scientific data, but we should still keep all that shit on board anyway, because it's handy. So here's what I know. What I know is I'm going to need probably a heat shield. Well, I mean, do I know that for sure? Not really, but I would like a heat shield to keep my little boys safe, right? I'm going to make sure that this connects properly. Yeah. What we're going to want is one of these engines. Now, look, what's the difference here? 200 kilonewtons in atmosphere, 240 in vacuum. Just generally, this trumps the other one, the Reliant versus the Swivel. Okay. Well, we'll take that one. I don't really know the difference. You can still sort of steer anyway. Like, I don't think maybe one steers better than the other, but it's not telegraphed very well there, is it? All right. So we'll do that. We're actually going to probably need liquid fuel, so I can probably disconnect like that. Oh, you know what? No. Let's reconnect that. Oh my god, it's all fallen to pieces. Let's just delete that. What we're going to do, we want is that a decoupler on there already? Oh my goodness. Right, decoupler. What I wanted was liquid fuel. Fuel tanks. We'll start with this little bloke. That makes sense. Yeah, so you need actual fuel for this thing. That can stay attached because we'll ditch the whole thing. I did focus in on like pretty intense recovery operations last time, but I kind of lost the thread if we're being honest. All right, so that's got that there. And then I suppose, I mean, we could put this big bloody thumper thing on there. See how that goes. How much is that worth? 850 bucks. Maybe we just start with the small one first. There. I'm curious how this goes. I don't have any stability options on it or anything like that, so we'll squeeze this test flight in before we go. So that's gonna boost, right? Then we're gonna decouple and activate the next stage together, which is liquid fuel, and then we decouple and parachute for sort of re-entry. Actually, you know what? Let's not fuck around. Let's put this fucking big bastard on the end. Yeah. I mean, it's such a small vessel, so I don't know, maybe let's limit the thrust to halfway. We'll see what happens there. We can pull up thrust to weight ratios here as well. 1.14. I mean, as long as it's above 1, right? 1.7. Yeah, it's over 2. I think over 2 might be excessive. I'm not 100% sure. Let's go that. That's 1.8. So that's our Seeker 3. We're going to give this a bloody let's give this a go before we wrap up here. And not a bad first sort of episode, getting the ball rolling. If you shank an operation, you can just reset. That's something I never used to do. I was a bit stubborn, but people suggest, so if we blow up here, then I can just reset easily enough. All right. One other thing I found was, it's not docking mode. It's definitely not map, but I think it was this, apoapsis. I can't remember, but I remember this data being quite helpful for me working this out. Also, angling with the rotation of the planet makes sense as well. I'm not that worried about it just yet. We're sort of getting our power ratios down for the first build. So let's go and hope it stays stable. Well, there we go. Look. Good thing I didn't throttle the thrust too much. Right, yeah, the apoapsis wants to be 70 kilometers, if I recall correctly. Yeah, I think so. I mean, shit. People will correct me, I'm sure. I'll pull out to the map in a sec. I just want to wait for the fuel there. Also, I need to throttle up on the liquid fuel. Having said that, actually I'm going to throttle down, because if I go map, maybe it isn't 70. Or maybe it is 70. Not sure. Now I'm getting confused. $79? At least 70? I can't be sure, to be honest. Anyway, so what we're going to do is we're going to let it go all the way up. Perhaps 79. Yeah, I could be wrong, but I think I play a million different games, right? But apparently, I think what people told me, if it's not 70, it's something else. But there is sort of a magic number of where you sort of want your apoapsis to be, right? Now, we're going to want to do a prograde burn as we approach, I believe. I think you can even get shortcuts for your little dudes to do that. Now, I'm sort of assuming that it's holding that line. I know he's going to try his best to stabilize it. I'm going to leave SAS on for the moment. But the whole idea is that if we start throttling up, we should be able to stretch the the orbit. Yeah, there you go. Cool. Okay, that's cool. I'm tempted to speed up a little bit, but I don't want to overshoot. Right. I mean, do we wait till we're like flat on it? I don't want to have overshot and then be fucked, you know? Seeing we're going through fuel like crazy. Fuck it, let's wait till we're right flat on it. Yeah, okay. The only other thing I'll check, because I think we're out of fuel now, yeah, is which way am I facing? Yeah, so I'm sort of basically firing straight up. So what I could have done and should have done, and we'll probably do next time, is I think maybe those markers help. Oh yeah, I think they are the prograde and retrograde markers of the sort of current axis. Right, yeah, because now we're on the way down. So if I align with the green one. Yeah, that's sort of the line that we're going down on. And this would be... Is that in fact... I can hold him on SAS. Is this a retrograde vector, I wonder? Yeah, I think it is. Like, it's... Yeah, so this would be helpful if you were landing in low atmosphere. Okay, cool. So what I needed to have done then was align with the correct thing and then burn. That's probably the closest that we've gotten so far, to be perfectly honest. Anyway, we're going to stage off this bit here. We're going to turn off SAS, and we're going to jam that speed right up and just sort of let him find his own way. $40,000, $30,000. Do we start burning at any point? Yeah, there we go. Look, probably wait for that. There was a window to pull the chute earlier. I'm gonna pull the chute now, as I think it's a no harm, no foul sort of scenario. I didn't take any scientific bloody data, which is a shame. But that's all right. I was too busy bloody focused on what I was doing. So we could have gotten maybe orbital readings, even though we weren't technically in orbit. When that music kicks in, that means you're sort of you've breached out, I believe. Yeah, so we nearly got it there. Again, like I said, I'm just some bloody squarehead made out of wood trying to figure out how to do this myself. I think we did all right. Suborbital flight. Yeah, so not quite orbit. I think that's suborbital is between atmospheric and orbit is my best guess. There we go. We got some stuff. We got some funds as well. Yeah, we must be getting paid for doing like achievements or something like that, which is helpful so we don't have to do so many contracts. Alright team, it's good to be back on this game. Let me know what you reckon. If you're an absolute beginner, ask stupid questions because I'll do my best to answer them, but there are plenty of people here in the community. You know, the backseaters get blocked, don't worry about them, but we've got some actual, you know, helpful people that contribute to the conversation and the experience for all. So, you know, feel free to sort of ask around and figure it all out yourself. Alright team, might just leave it there for the time being and I will catch you guys on the next one.